Top 3 mistakes you're making in attraction. You're potentially making all 3 of these mistakes right now, and they're quietly costing you more than you realize. I'm going to tell you exactly what they are, and more importantly, what you can do instead, so that the signals that you're sending are the signals that you actually mean to send. And the message that other people are receiving about you is the one that you actually want them to receive. Because here's the thing that most people never figure out. Attraction isn't just about how you look or what you say. It's about what your behavior is communicating when you're not thinking about it. And for most people, especially around someone that they like, that behavior is sending completely the wrong message. It isn't because they're doing anything dramatically wrong. It's because of 3 very specific, very common, very fixable mistakes that almost everyone makes. They're mistakes that feel like the right move in the moment. They feel like self-protection or strategy or just being careful, but they land on the other person as distance, disinterest, or disconnection. And the worst part is the person on the other side hasn't really got an idea of why they're not feeling pulled in. They just know something isn't quite landing. And you have no idea you're the one that's creating the gap. So let's close it. Here are the 3 biggest mistakes people make in attraction and exactly what to replace them with. Mistake number 1, you're performing instead of being present. Here's what this looks like in real life. You're around someone that you like, and suddenly, without even deciding to, you become a slightly different version of you. You're funnier or quieter or more agreeable, more impressive. You're monitoring every word before it comes out, and you might be aware of your hands. You might be laughing slightly too fast at things that aren't that funny. You're managing how you come across instead of actually just being in the room with them, and you think that this is helping you, but it isn't. Psychologist Arthur Aaron's research on what creates genuine connection, the kind that accelerates intimacy and actually makes people fall for each other, consistently points to one thing: real, honest, slightly vulnerable self-expression. It's not performance. The studies are really clear on that. People don't fall for the polished version of you. They fall for the version that feels real, the version that doesn't seem to be trying to be anything other than what it is. When you perform, the other person's nervous system picks up on this, even if their conscious mind doesn't. Something feels slightly off. It's effortful and slightly managed. And what the brain does with that signal is distance itself, because the brain is wired to be cautious about things that don't quite add up. It's the very same instinct that makes you uneasy around someone who's being a little too agreeable or a little too smooth with you. You can't always pick it, but you can feel it. Presence, on the other hand, being genuinely in the moment, saying what you actually think, reacting how you actually feel, reads as confidence. It reads as safety, and it reads as someone who's worth staying close to. Other people can feel that about you. And here's the thing about confidence that no one really talks about a lot. It doesn't look like someone who has all the answers. It doesn't look like someone who never says the wrong thing. It looks like someone who isn't constantly editing themselves before they speak. That ease, that sense that this person is just fully here, they're not performing for you, they're not managing your impression of them, is one of the most attractive qualities that a human being can communicate to another one. It's rare, and people can feel it immediately. So what to do next? The next time you're around someone that you're attracted to, catch yourself performing and drop it. Say the honest thing, react authentically, disagree if you disagree, admit you don't know something if you don't know it, let there be a silence if there is a silence. That initial discomfort of being real is far less damaging than the slow, invisible distance that comes from being a bit fake. Mistake number 2, you're giving attraction signals that say the opposite of what you feel. This one's going to hit you differently because almost everyone does this and almost no one realizes that they're doing it. Here's what the research on human behavior consistently shows. We don't act more natural around people we like. We act less natural. We get more careful, more controlled, more self-conscious. And in trying not to look too interested, we end up looking uninterested. Or worse, we look uncomfortable, we look cold or avoidant. Think about the last time that you're around someone you actually had feelings for. Did you make slightly less eye contact than usual because you didn't want to seem too intense? Did you pull back physically because you didn't want to seem too eager? Maybe you went a bit quieter, harder to read, less warm because the stakes felt a bit higher and you were trying to protect yourself. Maybe you let a natural moment pass by because reaching for that felt too risky. That's not the signal of someone who likes you. That's a signal of someone who is nervous, distant, and not feeling it. And the person on the other side who might be genuinely interested in you, who might be looking for exactly the signals that tell them it's safe to move towards you, they'll read that behavior and get the opposite message. They think you're not into it, so they pull back too. And now both of you are sitting in the same room, both actually interested, but both behaving like you're not. And the whole thing dies before it ever gets the chance to become something real. This is one of the most common reasons that mutual attraction never becomes anything. It's not because it wasn't there, it's because both people were hiding it from each other at exactly the same time. Two people, same room, same feelings, both performing indifference and both walking away thinking the other one wasn't interested. Here's what makes that mistake so hard to catch. It feels like the right move. Pulling back feels like maturity. Being hard to read feels like not being desperate. Protecting yourself feels like self-respect, but from the outside, it just looks like you're not interested, and people don't chase signals that tell them to back off. They'll honor them, they respect them, and then they move on. The psychology behind this is really well documented. Researcher Monica Moore, she spent years studying flirtation signals in naturalistic settings, in bars, social events, college campuses, and what her work showed was pretty striking. The people who attracted the most approach, they were the people that were sending the most clear, consistent, open signals. Eye contact that was held and returned, body angled towards the person, genuine smiling, and small gestures of engagement. Those signals, the ones that feel vulnerable to send, are the exact signals that you need to give the other person permission to move towards you. Here's what to do instead. Be slightly warmer than feels safe. Hold eye contact a little bit longer than feels comfortable. Lean in when they're talking and ask the follow-up questions when you want to know more. Laugh when something's actually funny to you. Show that you're engaged because that's what interest actually looks like. So not pulling back, not being hard to read, not leaving them to wonder where they stand with you. You don't need to be crazy obvious and you don't need to announce anything, but you just need to be honest because the signals that feel the most vulnerable to send are the same signals that tell the other person it's safe to come towards you. Mistake number 3, you're investing in the idea of them instead of the reality of them. And this is the one that keeps people stuck the longest. And it's the one that does the most damage, not just to the potential connection, but also to you. When we're attracted to someone, especially early on, the brain does something really specific. It starts to fill in the gaps. All of the things you don't know about this person yet, your brain starts to invent. And it invents them based on what you want to be true, based on your history, based on your needs, what you've been hoping for. So you end up not attracted to the actual person in front of you. You're attracted to a version of them that you've built in your mind, that you populated with everything you were looking for. And that imagined person is perfect for you because you made them. The research on limerence, the psychological term for that overwhelming, consuming early stage fixation, shows exactly this. The less real contact you have with someone, the more the fantasy fills the space. The more time you spend thinking about them instead of being with them, the more idealized they become. And the more idealized they become, the harder it is to connect with who they actually are, because who they actually are can't compete with who you invented them to be. This is why some people feel a really powerful, overwhelming pull towards someone that they barely know, and then they feel confused or deflated when they actually spend real time with them. The feeling wasn't wrong, but the object of it wasn't real yet. You were feeling something completely genuine towards someone that was largely imaginary. And this mistake doesn't just set you up for disappointment. It actively gets in the way of real attraction developing. Because when you're in your head about someone, you're not present with that person. You're not listening to what they're actually saying. You're just filtering it through the story that you've already written about them. You're not responding to who they are. You're responding to who you decided that they were. And that gap between the real person and the projected one creates a really strange, subtle distance that the other person can feel even if they can't name it. You seem like you're not quite seeing them because you're not. You're seeing your version of them. And presence, as we already covered, is one of the most attractive things that you can bring to any interaction. You can't be fully present and lost in the fantasy at the same time. But here's what to do instead. Get genuinely curious about who this person actually is, not who you want them to be. Ask real questions, not like interview questions, not impressive questions, but honest questions about things that you actually want to know, and then pay real attention to the answers. Let yourself be surprised by them. Let yourself be slightly confused by them. Let yourself find out that one of your assumptions was wrong. Those moments where the real person diverges from the imagined one, they're not disappointments, they're the beginning of something real. They're the moment that the fantasy stops and the actual connection starts to happen. Real attraction doesn't just survive contact with reality, it should deepen because of it. And that deepening, that feeling of someone becoming more layered, more interesting, more genuinely known the more time you spend with them, that's what separates something real from something that you invented alone in your head. Here's what all 3 of these mistakes have in common. They come from the same place, fear. Fear of being too much or not enough, or wanting something you can't have, or being seen wanting it. Fear is the single biggest attraction killer there is. And it's not just because it's unattractive, although it is, but because it makes you behave in ways that are the precise opposite of what actually draws people towards you. Performing pushes people away. Hiding your signals pushes people away. Living in a fantasy of someone instead of being with them pushes people away too. It's not because those things are ugly, it's because none of them are real, and people are drawn to what's real. They're wired for it. Presence draws people in. Honest signals draw people in. Seeing someone clearly and letting yourself be seen, that draws people in. It's not a strategy, it's not a technique. It's actually you just showing up. Probably the most important message is this: you don't need to be perfect at this. You don't need to overhaul your personality or learn a whole new set of moves. You just need to stop letting fear make decisions that are quietly costing you connections that are worth keeping. The right person won't be put off by your honesty, okay? They're going to be drawn to it. The right person won't be scared away by your signals. They'll be relieved by them because they've been waiting for permission to move towards you. I hope this resonates with you, particularly if you're someone who keeps saying, I just don't know where I stand with them. So try all this and follow for more.